why I'm making lasagna today, because that I make with homemade sauce, which is what I'm doing now. I'm browning up the ground beef. I use only 93% lean or higher beef because I don't like that nasty fat. So then I take some kosher salt, probably half a teaspoon, and throw it in there and mince the hamburger all up, and then I take onion powder and sprinkle that in there because I don't like chunks in my sauce. Texture thing for me is huge. That is why I'm taking this can of Italian stewed tomatoes and pureeing them so that any and all chunks that might be in this sauce will be gone by the time I'm done. So now I'm going to lower the heat so that when I pour in the tomato sauce, it does not splatter all over the place and ruin my mother's kitchen. This is Grandma's house we're at, by the way. This is something I've never used before. Hunt's sauce in a box. I'm going to cover this. I'm going to take the garlic, which is minced garlic, and I like a lot of garlic, so I'm going to take a good teaspoon and put it in to the minced they're stewed tomatoes with Italian seasoning. Never bought those before either, since lasagna costs a lot of money to make. If you make lasagna with fresh mozzarella, I would say a pan of lasagna, which is this big, costs $25 in ingredients. So, but you can eat it for, depending on how many people you have in your family and if they're pigs or not, quite a few days. And this is tomato paste with roasted garlic in it. Again, I love the garlic. So what I'm going to do is figure out how this little food processor works, because I've only used it one more time before this. And now it's going to be loud. And we're going to put it into the sauce with the hamburger meat. But the sauce is going to sit for probably 2 hours, simmering on low heat. So, and it's fairly smooth, but like I said, it's going to simmer, so that'll break down any chunks that are left. Most likely, and I know you guys are probably going to be like, what, is she crazy? I'm put a little bit more of this tomato paste in right now. I will put sugar in here, a pinch of sugar, because it gets rid of some of the acid that you taste with the tomato sauce. Because tomato sauce is really, like homemade tomato sauce. I'm not Italian, I'm German, 100% German. Wasn't worth it, but. So I think I'll put this on 3 and we'll come back and check it in probably half an hour. And that's probably when I'll add some Parmesan cheese as well. Normally I buy freshly grated Parmesan cheese, but like I said, it was already costing like 25 bucks. And I knew that I still had to buy the mozzarella. That is a new thing. We just started making lasagna with fresh mozzarella because it's amazing. But you have to let your mozzarella, or you have to let your lasagna sit out for a little bit longer when you do that, because the mozzarella, the fresh mozzarella, is very liquidy. So you will get a lot more liquid in your lasagna. So you have to really, like, if you want to eat your lasagna, you cook it like an hour, and then I'd let it sit for almost an hour after it comes out. If you want to eat a piece of lasagna that is in a square and not soup. If you can't wait, then you can take that first piece and eat it. But be prepared, it's going to be soupy. And you know what? The next day, this stuff tastes even better. And we're back. Woo! Moisture. We have to stir the sauce. And that's looking yummy. But it's a little thin looking. So I think I'm going to add the rest of this tomato paste, which will thicken it. word of caution, if you don't cook a lot, turn your burner off or take the bowl off or put it, like I've got it on 1. You see it's still bubbling like crazy. If you get splattered with a tomato sauce bubble, you're gonna be crying for a good hour. Even if you're tough. I'm pretty tough. I've gone through a lot of things in my life that have hurt me as far as physical pain. A lot of surgery and stuff like that. But I'm telling you that a tomato sauce burn, whoo, baby, that's bad. Okay, we're going to taste it and see how it's doing. I'm gonna put some cheese in it now. Some Parmesan. Not too much because I put Parmesan in with the ricotta and the egg. And if you put Parmesan, if you use Parmesan or Romano cheese or any of these hard Italian cheeses like this, watch how much salt you add to your stuff. You can always add more salt. You cannot, it's not something easy to take out. So the next step is to mix the cheese up. And I always buy the whole milk ricotta. I buy whole milk for all the cheeses because I figure if you're going to eat lasagna, eat lasagna. But buying the low-fat stuff, it's watery, makes the lasagna watery, and it's just, it doesn't taste good. So now I have to get 2 eggs. One egg. That's probably like a half cup, but I used a bigger package of ricotta, so I'm going to put in a whole cup of Parmesan. You have to mix the egg in with the cheese. Make sure you mix it all together, incorporate everything well, because if you don't, you're going to wind up with a piece of scrambled egg in the middle of your lasagna. And that won't taste good. A long time ago, I think it was my daughter's 3rd birthday, I made a giant sheet cake. And I was rushing. And I did not make sure that I incorporated the eggs properly. And one of the guests at the party got a slice of cake with partial fried egg in the middle. It was pretty funny. Thankfully, it was just a family party. And I do believe it was her dad's cousin that got it. And we just all laughed because it was like, here's this super sweet frosted Rugrats cake. For those of you that remember the Rugrats. And then it had a fried egg in the middle. I was a little embarrassed, but then I laughed about it because what can you do? Nothing. The rest of the cake was good, but I learned a lesson. So now, because I'm a garlic freak, I'm going to put in a bit more garlic. It says to put basil in this. I'm going to choose to put in fried parsley if I can find it. There's some basil. I'll put a smidgen of basil in it. Pinch. Sure that you, if you're using dried spices, that you don't put a lot in. Taste it because it's very pungent. It can wreck your whole dish if you put too much in. And same thing as before, make sure you incorporate everything. Okay, now we're going to assemble the lasagna. I am going to use oven ready lasagna strips. I usually boil the lasagna because I think it does turn out better, but it's a lot more time consuming. And let's be honest, I'm feeling really lazy today. I'm in sweatpants. So, you get, oops, sorry about that. You get what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Now we're going to take the homemade meat sauce and layer some on the bottom. Probably about a cup or a cup and a half. Use a deep dish throwaway pan. I say throwaway pan because cleaning a lasagna pan after you get done eating it is the last thing you want to do. You could use a regular pan. I would highly recommend lining it with non-stick Reynolds wrap. They make that now. And that way, hopefully, nothing leaks through, but I don't want to take the chance because I don't feel like spending the rest of the afternoon cleaning lasagna bowls, lasagna pans. These are the lasagna noodles, and I don't know exactly how many are going to fit across. Probably 3. I'm going to try and make it 4. Now we need to take just a quick recap. I put about a cup and a half of sauce in the bottom of the pan. I put down 4 lasagna noodles. The no boil kind. The sauce makes them cook in the oven. Now I'm going to spread the ricotta cheese mixture over the top of the noodles. We'll see. And I'm putting the chunks of fresh mozzarella onto the top of the ricotta. Another layer of lasagna noodles on top of the cheese. Second layer of sauce. The last layer of cheese. And we double wrap it in aluminum foil and put it in the oven at 425 to bake for an hour. Now these directions say to let the lasagna sit for 10 minutes after it gets out of the oven. It needs to sit for a lot longer than that, or you're going to be having lasagna soup. Half an hour is what I would say. But like I said before, if you can't wait, obviously, dig in. And we'll be back. And now I'm going to put the Parmesan cheese on top. I'm going to bake it for an hour in the oven at 425 with double wrapped foil, and I'm going to put it on a cookie sheet so that it doesn't boil over and get the whole bottom of the oven nasty. And then for the last 15 minutes of baking, I will take the top off and lower the temperature probably down to 350 so that it doesn't burn. And then we will be back in a while to show you the end product. Alright, well, we had our lasagna dinner and it didn't turn out as good as the last time I made it because the last time I used fresh noodles that you boil. This time I decided to take a shortcut and use the no-boil noodles, which turned out to be kind of a disaster in my opinion because it was kind of gummy and chewy and it was still edible. I mean, it's lasagna after all, but it tasted more like ziti. Soaked up all the sauce. So tomorrow, I think when we have it for leftovers, we're going to make a fresh batch of meat sauce, plop it on the top, have some nice buttered Italian bread with it, a salad. So, until next time, see ya!